Welcome to another episode of Streaming with a Purpose. It's time to be inspired and motivated to live your best life on purpose. On Streaming with a Purpose, hear the stories of people who have, despite the odds, dealt with the challenges that life sometimes brings, but who still manage to overcome those odds. If you think life is tough and you have to settle for where you are, my guests and I are here to tell you you don't have to. I speak to people who were once where you are and are now living their purpose, and I want to encourage you to live your life to the fullest. I am your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Let's take a listen to our next guest. Hello and welcome to another episode of Streaming with a Purpose. I'm your host, Sylvia Montgomery, and I'm so excited that you are checking out today's show. Today's guest is Tiffany Alexander. So Tiffany is a fund manager with Aspen Sage, and she embarked on her real estate investing journey in 2006 and has since employed a wide range of strategies, including short sales, tax liens, and flipping multifamily properties. However, over the past 7 years, Tiffany's focus has shifted primarily to promissory note investing. Tiffany specializes in buying notes as investments and employing specialized investment strategies to maximize gains for herself and her clients. She has assisted over 1,000 people in the real estate field to identify and achieve their investment objectives through real estate and note investing. So we're talking about someone who is pretty experienced in this field. But now Tiffany isn't just focused on work. She is a devoted wife and mother who never stops working for her family, right?
Yep.
She has been married since 2013, and she and her husband are blessed with two lovely, lively daughters. So, Tiffany, welcome to Streaming with a Purpose. So glad to have you here today.
I'm so happy to be here. I get so excited to tell people about anything I'm doing because I want to share it with the world.
Absolutely. Well, and I have to tell you, Tiffany, I'm not that well versed in real estate. So this particular topic is of particular interest to me. I know that there are definitely opportunities for us to excel, succeed in real estate. And it's a great opportunity to get a stream of income coming in. And I know you're going to share all of that with us. And I'm just so excited. But first of all, if you could just share a little bit about yourself and how what it is that you do translates to you living your purpose, Tiffany.
Oh goodness. My favorite thing now, I know I own a fund, but I love being a super connector. So when I get a chance to meet someone, some of the stuff that now bubbles over is the abundance mindset that I have of saying, "Hey, who do you need? Who do you need to know next?" And the purpose that I'm living with now is understanding this new definition I've thrown on myself as a connector. And with that, as a connector, you have to really listen to other people. And it's like, oh gosh, the side tangent thing has almost become the main thing of really getting to know more people to hear them out, to partner them together. And so that ends up just being everybody gets to grow with me. And then at some point, people are like, "What else do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I own a fund. Do you want to do some fun investing?" And they're like, "Of course, right? You throw me a referral, then I make more money, and then it's like, what do I do with it?"
Wow. So, abundance mindset, that's important. And that's extremely important for anyone who is living their purpose and also the whole connector piece. Because, as we're living our purpose, Tiffany, it's really about others, right? And it's about helping others in some type of way, depending on what our purpose is. So that whole abundance mindset and connecting is just so important. So it sounds like you've really got the mindset and all of that down. Yeah. So, can you just talk a little bit about what being a fund manager entails?
Hmm. Absolutely. The assets that we work with, you would think, oh, Tiffany's a fund manager. And then she says real estate. Well, when people think immediately of real estate, they always think, oh, you own property. You flip houses or you have a rental or I don't know, you own land. Something about owning something really having to do physically with the property. And it actually goes a layer deeper than that. And our fund owns paper. What does that mean? It means You go acquire property either with cash or with a debt of some sort, and you get a loan for it. And a loan is a note instrument. It's an agreement that you have with your lender to say, I'm going to pay you back this much this time and for how long. And that is an actual instrument. That is its own asset. And it's an asset that you can own yourself, either individually in a company, in your retirement, your strategic self-directed retirement accounts. And that is what we invest in, is the actual paper. And if people are thinking, I still don't follow, what are you talking about? Like, wait. Have you ever gotten a letter from, or a friend that's gotten a letter, hey, don't make your payment to Chase anymore. Make your payment to Bank of America. It's like, oh, what happened? Like, it's the same terms, same conditions, but they've now transferred the shoes. Who's wearing the shoes of that original loan that was originated to a new shoe holder? And they're saying, just pay us instead because we've bought the rights to your loan. Now we're your bank. And that's what it is. I become someone's bank when I acquire and I buy their debt from their lender.
Wow. This is definitely something, a process, a concept I'm familiar with because, a lot of times as mortgage holders, when you own a home, um, within a couple of years or so or whatever, you might end up finding out that someone else now holds that debt. And so now you have to pay this bank instead of that bank. So are you saying, and I'm just putting it in layman terms here, Tiffany, for someone who feels like a 6-year-old right now in an adult in an adult class. But so are you saying that that bank that I would now pay to as the person who holds the mortgage loan is the person who has invested?
It is absolutely that. It is so specific and almost mind blowing because do you remember at any or a friend, right? Like if you can't relate to yourself, a friend, when you go to close on a home and you have to sign that big or, bigger
Mhm.
packet and you're saying, I agree, sign.
Signing your life away.
Yeah, you get a copy and they get a copy and they want an original, like pen inked copy. That's actually the physical paper. So I tell people when I buy paper, this paper has been recorded at the courthouse, negligible $100 or something, right? But
Mhm.
I actually buy that packet of paper and the collateral to that paper is typically a first lien position against a property.
Wow. So now, Tiffany, can you just break it down just a little bit further? Is this something anyone can do, or do you have to be a business entity? And if so, what type of business entity? I would assume that you would have to have some major collateral against whatever you're buying.
Anyone can do this. It's all in who you know. It's harder to find the assets if you aren't in the right pool of people that are either giving you good quality assets or knowing how you're getting access to them. Because even me, I'm involved in this a lot. I'm not getting a phone call from Bank of America to say, "Do you want to buy our next portfolio of loans?" It's always a big name to a big name, but there's this middle ground of like a medium name to a medium name, and then even smaller, which are still very large hedge funds saying, "Hey, I'm BlackRock that sold it to ABC hedge fund, sold it to XYZ hedge fund." And they're thinking, "Oh, I don't want these loans." And they're selling them off in smaller portfolios to people. And when you have the right connections, you could just buy one. You could just own one. And you can get them down into very low numbers. I get into a whole can of worms of that as to like, do you want to own the paper on a little plot of land in the middle of nowhere, Idaho? Like, probably not. So we'll have to groom you to see what it is that you want to have as an asset and where you want to have that asset because it gets even like deeper and wider. We buy assets that are in good standing, they're performing, but they actually have an entire market for assets that have stopped paying and they call them non-performing. It's bad debt. And you can buy bad debt other ways like credit card bad debt, health bad debt, but real estate bad debt, you still buy at a significant discount. And some people swoop in and they say, great, I get to foreclose on everything. And the difference between me and my fund is that I come in with a heart because I become their bank and I say, hey, what do you need? Are you okay? Like, how about I lower your payment? Can I waive some of your debt? Let's restructure this. I want you to stay a homeowner in this. Now, worst case scenario, they're like, I'm out, I moved out, you can have my house, right? Okay, great. Can I save foreclosure on your credit? Or do you want me to go all the way to the bank? Like, we can do really simple paperwork so I can save you. I can even pay you to help me fill out all the paperwork so that way you're walking away with something instead of just leaving your house, or all the way down to filing foreclosure. But I've bought their house significantly less than what they even owe their lender. So I come into this business with a heart that some people don't have or don't understand that there are people that could. And anyone could do this if you know the right people. And if you don't know the right people, well, by golly, you're listening to this. You know me. Come find me. Let's be friends. Like, I want to bring everybody along on this magic carpet ride with me.
This is very interesting. And I was about to ask the right connection. So it sounds like you are that right connection and can connect people to a fund that would really fit them and what it is they're trying to do. So if now you also talked about, you mentioned some bad debt and if someone isn't paying, that type of thing. Just help me to understand how this is going to benefit me in retirement if I just happen to acquire a paper that is not panning out.
Good question. I I get even more excited. So people are like, "Oh, it sounds like I wouldn't own a rental property that's having trouble having a tenant. It's not the same feeling and intenseness and
Mhm.
HGTV like, oh, this rental sucks, right? No, it's just the paper. And if you have to come into a point where you've bought the paper for very low, which typically a lot of the papers for sale for very low, due to the time value of money. Our money is becoming worth less and less over time. And if you have to wait 20 years for a payment, they are only going to be able to sell that debt for a certain amount. So you're buying it less than what they owe anyway. And if you own one of these little pieces of paper inside of a retirement vehicle or even personally, and it goes non-performing or you buy it non-performing, you're going to either get them to perform again or you're going to end up with the house. And in real estate, they call that bank owned, an REO property. You then become the homeowner. You are the owner. And there are levels or stages of where people want to be involved in this or step out, step away. And from here, it's like, okay, now you own a home. You didn't really want to own a home. You wanted to own the paper. You can sell it. Well, if it's not in good shape because they left it, you sell it to a wholesaler. You still got it for so low. There's meat on the bone for you, meat on the bone for the wholesaler, and then for the end user to be able to go and own their very own home that a wholesaler has fixed up. You could also go fix it up yourself, right? Hire a crew locally. You could put a few bucks into it, sell it yourself, or fix it up, turn it into another rental, or sell it on payments. Now you just created a whole nother note and you don't own the property anymore. You now own the debt again. You're just the note holder. So it's like, what step of this do you want to transition yourself out of the property at one point? I wouldn't want anyone to have rentals anymore. So I wouldn't suggest that as an exit. But it's a matter of how deep you want to go. And when you're well connected, you should have all the right people to exit at any of those stages. So you're not thinking, well, I have to get out this way. No, you've got this many options to be able to get out of that asset. And your game plan has an A, B, C, D, all the way to Z plan for it.
Mhm. So as a fund manager, how many funds would you recommend someone have access to or acquire? I'm looking at this as a great business opportunity for anyone who might want to pursue some type of business, but haven't really decided what that business should be, but it might be something that would resonate with some. So is this something where they would acquire multiple notes, or maybe they should just focus on one?
This is a great question. I'm a huge fan of diversity, meaning diversification of your portfolio. So you're going to want to have a nice, steady, consistent return to buy some performing notes. The performing notes have ranges of what is acceptable as a level of return based on your risk tolerance. And that's what I love to talk to people about. It's like, do you need this money every single month? Let's get you into something where you could buy an asset and have consistent money coming off of it, exactly like you would expect consistent income coming from a rental. Now, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if you maybe have money setting aside you'd like to park into an asset and you don't need that cash flow right back off of it, that's where we say, oh my gosh, we could get into a non-performing note on purpose and buy it with the intention of waiting several months to get the loan to work itself out or file foreclosure on the property to then get the property back and turn around and sell it. So you've got a higher risk, but a higher reward that you would gain out of buying a property for much less, which is why the loan you would be able to buy for less because of the risk that's associated with it, but your reward is greater. If you're staring at like, oh man, Tiff, I'm sitting on 100 grand and I was just getting ready to go buy a franchise. Well, what's the math on that? Like, I partner with franchise consultants that are showing people what you could do with money sitting around. And as a franchise owner, you buy yourself a job. You're going to show up and smell like bread for a Subway or coffee for a coffee shop, right?
Mhm.
In that, you are going to go and decide, all right, I'm going to put all my money into this, and I should expect to get this type of a return from the asset or this investment I'm getting into. And I tell people if your return is like, I don't know, 8, 10, I don't know, 15%, and that's all you're expecting to get out of it, why not just put your money into a note and don't do anything at all except collect the cash flow from it? Because that's about the range of return that I like to get from my assets at a bare minimum. If you own them yourself, you can negotiate some of the prices down or up, whatever that looks like, so you can gain over the tens, like into the teens as a very set it and forget it style of investment without the roller coaster of being in the stock market or being in something really silly, right? And if you're like, okay, I'm hearing you, but I don't want to do all of this. Can I just give it to you and you could do it for me? Absolutely. That's why I invented my fund because several years ago, people were thinking, I want to do this, but I can't be bothered with a few emails or the analyzing of this and the risk of what happens if I do it wrong. And
Mhm.
that's what and why the fund was born so that I could let people invest vicariously through me. And they could just say, all right, you know all these people, you have all the connections, you have all the leads. If you just let me be in control of it, I'll go do it with you for you. And you can just kind of sit in the back seat of my car while I'm driving and you can see where we're going, but you're not like holding my steering wheel. You're going to let me drive the boat and then you get first return on the assets that we're going to be holding.
Wow. So you have so many scenarios of what could happen and how to handle this and how to handle that situation. And I can hear the passion and see the passion that you have about this and having helped over 1,000 people already, Tiffany. My gosh. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn more for myself just to get more information about this. Now, as you are living your purpose, and it truly sounds like you are, can you describe some of the challenges and some of the struggles that you might have had along the way to get to this point? Because, I know it didn't come easy.
No, no, it didn't. Oh, this is great. I love when you ask this stuff because I have highs and I have lows. Like in real estate, there's a phrase people coin for a reason, and it's occasionally when you're deep into the real estate side of this. I was property rich and cash poor. It was like, are my tenants going to pay to be able to pay me so that I could pay my mortgages behind all of this? Or are my contractors going to show up? How much is the cost of materials right now? Am I learning how to drywall today because my guy didn't show up? I know how to drywall now. Why do I know how to lay tile? I shouldn't know this, but when I was facing the woes of being a landlord, I did not even know that I was tired. And I did not know because I kept justifying it. Like, this is the dream. This is what the infomercial says I was supposed to do. This is what the book says. This is what they glamorize. Like, I can flip a house. I can have a tenant. Well, sometimes you get a referral to a really great deal, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can buy what? For how much? There was a moment in my investing in the very beginning stages of it, even just 15 years ago, where you could show up on the courthouse steps and buy property for 500 bucks, $1,000, $10,000. Well, I bought a couple of fourplexes in South Carolina and I didn't know it was like on the railroad tracks. And the biggest problem I had was turnover and bullet holes in the window. And it was like, I bought this property from California where I live in South Carolina and I was flying back and forth because the property management wasn't great. But it was like they were on fire. They couldn't fire them because it was a part of the community. And I thought, what did I get myself into? So the lows of and woes really of the tenants. They actually coined the T's for it. So it's like termites, tenants, toilets, turnover. And then I said, you know what? There's always four, but my fifth one was tears. And my husband was like, Tiff, you cry about this and why don't you just sell it? So then you try to sell it and people are negotiating. There are woes in real estate land. And then there are highs. You have some amazing tenants. I have some tenants that were so cool, so kind and nice that I'm still friends with them. I try to text them once a year at least. Hey, what are you doing? What's up? Can I help you buy a house now? Are you still a tenant somewhere? And so I feel like just finding um hope in the journey is what I want to leave with everybody and encourage them that some of my favorite quotes or phrases are like one of them is from Bruce Lee, and it is the master has failed more than the student has ever tried. And it's about consistency, showing up. It's about trying more and more and more. I mean, don't get me wrong, don't bang your head against the wall in some of the stuff that maybe there's a closed door for other reason, but you have to show up and you have to make offers in real estate, or you have to put yourself out there for rejection. I even have a piece of paper I stare at every day because you just never know. I have it taped really janky to my monitor. It says, try to get rejected to get over the fear of being rejected. Because you just have to put yourself out there in this world and you're not going to appease everybody, but living your purpose sometimes doesn't feel great all the time. And being a little bit of this gift that I feel like I've been able to define better in my life. It's like, oh man, you get to your late 30s and you hit 40, you're like, I have a little bit more clarity as to who I am.
Mhm.
I really tend to encourage people, and I find that I'm hopeful for them in the journey where they're at. And I'm like, you got this, right? You've got a fun thing, a job, a business. I want people to have people in their life like me so that I can encourage them in that because I help them grow big. They're like, Tiff, what do I do with all this money? I'm like, put it in my fund. So that's what it looks like for me.
Well, Tiffany, if there was anything that you could do differently, what would it be?
Uh, but believe in myself more when the times that I needed it, but also really be kind to yourself in the moments when I was so hard, saying like, I haven't made my first million yet, or I don't have enough rental property yet. It's like I was so down on myself in the moments when I was really doing well and needed to just stop and appreciate and have gratitude for where I was. And I think I've making up for those moments now of appreciating the gratitude of where I'm at, like the people that I can be there for, be available for, and be able to share that with people. And they know I'm really present with them, except occasionally my husband's like, get off your phone. But no, I want to be present with people to be there for them and hear them out, you know?
You know, one of the things I often say is that it's important to appreciate every experience. So regardless of how negative it might even feel, you know, just like when you have the note to remind you to it's okay to get a negative reaction, you know, just to get through it, to experience it, because I think that every single experience that we have we can take something away from it regardless of what it is, and what that does is it just gets us closer to where we need to be, to having that mindset that we need to have in order to be successful in the end to what it is we were meant to be doing. So I totally get what you're saying, and you know your thinking process, as far as that goes. Yeah, and so when we mess up, it's okay, don't beat ourselves up so hard, right?
Hmm.
You know, we do something that we realize maybe we shouldn't have done that, but we got to have these experiences, right? In order to get to where it is we need to be.
Oh, yeah, hands down. It's just phenomenal to take a step back,
Hmm.
remind yourself to take a deep breath. But also, if you're not experiencing that, I'm a huge fan of networking and masterminds and surrounding yourself with people that are going to pour into you. And quite often, as an entrepreneur, you have to hang out with other entrepreneurs because I've been told so many times, why don't you just, Tiff, why don't you just go get a job? Tiff, why don't you just, don't cry in the middle of the night about that darn window or the property or something? It's like, because I care so much and I want to try so hard and I don't know. I guess I just feel like there's so much and so many people that you should surround yourself with. If you're not in that spot, they are available. There are communities of people you can join on Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or something just to feel heard and be built up by other business owners and entrepreneurs because there are hard times and we really fly solo until you've built up this army around you. But if you're the owner, you're at the top, right? You have to go hang out with the other people. My mom has a funny phrase that I occasionally pull out, and it's like, man, Tiff, sometimes it's kind of hard to soar with the eagles when you're hanging out with the turkeys.
We get that type of advice. Just go and get it. Why don't you just go and get a job? Of course, that would come from about the other 95%, right? Because they just don't get it. So when you are around people who do get it, right, who are business owners or entrepreneurs and are on that path, they understand. They wouldn't take that what you're doing so lightly. But it's just hard for people who are used to working the 9 to 5 to
Mhm.
get it and to understand. So it's a totally different mindset. So I agree. Being around people who think like you, or at least have that entrepreneur spirit, is just so important because they're going to help keep you in the game,
Yes.
right? They're not going
Not
to let you quit
no
so
no tap
easily.
out button over here.
Now, Tiffany, there might be some people sitting back right now going, wow, well, this all sounds awesome. It sounds great, but I just don't know if I'm a good fit for managing a note or taking over a note. So, how would someone know if this is a good path for them?
I love that question because I want to be the person who helps you figure that out. Like, I consider myself to be a neutral third party, but also like a realist. Like, Tiff, I'm coming to you because I've dreamt to own an apartment complex my whole life. I'm like, you want 500 toilets in one location? They all go wrong sometimes, right? So I like to tell people the other side, the greener side of the grass, and understand like risk tolerance, but that isn't like a series or a course or an investing bit. I need you to go get a code and get a coupon and log into my website. I don't have any of that. I have a link on my website, aspensagefund.com, to click into my calendar and book a time with me because I think everybody at least deserves 30 minutes of my time to know what should I do? Where am I at? What is this a good fit for me? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you just need someone to have hope for you to go out and crush it and continue to do what you're doing and network with some cool people. So I never know, but at the same time, some people have enough information to be dangerous. I hope you get with the right people that can put some guardrails up for you in whatever investing you are doing. Aspen Sage Fund.
Com. So you want to make sure that you go there. Is that the ever any other ways that people can connect with you, Tiffany?
Yes, I would love to hang out with all my favorite business owners, my entrepreneurs, and all the above on LinkedIn. You can come find me, Tiffany Alexander, Aspen Sage Fund. You'll be able to find it. And if you can't find me there, on my YouTube channel, I have fun little cartoons that are like 4 minutes long to tell you even easier the concept of owning a note and what that feels like. And you can just type in Aspen Sage Fund and dig through some of the little tutorial videos or just educational videos I like to have there so that people can get this at a deeper level with not getting too heavy very quickly.
You know what, Tiffany, this has all been awesome. I loved learning something totally new today. Now, do you have any other tidbits about purpose that you'd like to share before we leave?
I mean, a million. One of these books I just read recently, John Bevere, Multiply Your God-Given Impact. It's a big black book with like an X on it. He
Mhm.
talks about how there are gifts that are spoken in the Bible about like, oh, you have the gift of patience or the kindness or whatever, a helper. There are unspoken, field gifts that you actually have deep within you that you will learn to identify. And I want you to lean into your strength of what that is. And it took the last several years of my life to understand that I am an encourager and that's where I thrive is meeting with people to build them up. And you have to find out and hone in on the idea that you really, really are um, capable of learning and growing in your gift that it is that you have. And that book actually encouraged me as a business owner to be as driven as I am. And it almost gave me permission to be okay to be competitive a tiny bit. Like, I have to go out and meet more people. I want to go impress upon people this idea of non-traditional investing, or to not being like a landlord anymore, or just understanding there's so much you can tap into from all the resources that are accessible nowadays. And to if you don't know what you don't know, hang out with other networking groups, higher level stuff like mastermind. Don't hesitate to hire a mentor or hire a coach after you've interviewed them to make sure they've gotten to where it is you want to go or where you want to be. uh, so much advice. Like, just don't stop, don't quit, don't give up. There's a bunch of other entrepreneurs, business owners that believe in you. You just need to hang out with the right ones.
I love that. Don't stop, don't quit. Keep going because that's the easiest thing to do, right, Tiffany? To just quit and then go back to work or
Yeah.
whatever. Go back to the 9 to 5 every day. That's so easy. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You have just listened to Streaming with a Purpose with your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Thank you so much for listening and continue to stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye bye.